Here's an interview from one of our past shows on Rock and Metal Revival. If you're interested in hearing full shows, go to our Facebook page and check out our list of affiliates for times and places where you can hear Rock and Metal Revival. That is called At the Gates from the latest release from Sacred Oath called Return of the Dragon. And with us today, we want to welcome Sacred Oath lead vocalist Rob-Thorn. Welcome to the Revival, Rob.
Hey, Red, thank you. Great to be here.
Rob, it's really good to have you on the program. I've been a Sacred Oath fan for a long time, and I have to say, listening through Return of the Dragon a few times, it sounds a little different sound for me from Sacred Oath that I know from the past. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but, did you guys go for like a little bit of a different sound? I mean, every band matures through albums, but something seemed a little different on this one.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, we try to do things a little differently every record, but I think that we were the most successful with that on this album. Probably because of the circumstances that we were recording under, because we recorded it through the pandemic, through the lockdown. So that kind of forced us into some new techniques that I think is what people are hearing.
Well, I was going to say that. I mean, the album sounds so alive, and I have to ask, with the pandemic going on, I mean, how are you able to really get that sound? I mean, were you recording, like you mail your parts in? Do you mail your parts in? Because I know back in the day when everybody used to actually get in the studio, you used to get more of a live vibe when an album would come out. I mean, how did it work out for you during the pandemic?
Well, we all worked in the same studio. There was no uploading or downloading of tracks from remote studios. And we were already rehearsed and ready to go on the songs. Literally, we started recording the album February 29th on Leap Day, and that was when things started to lock down. So we got the drum tracks down, and then at that point, we had to have everybody come in individually. So were we all together laying down rhythm guitar tracks and leads? No, but we were rehearsed. We came in one at a time and did our tracks that way. This way, we weren't all breathing in each other's faces. But yes, I agree. I think we still, we've been playing together a long time, so we that vibe that you're feeling, that live vibe, that's just the way we play together, whether it's one at a time or all together,
Well, now, correct me if I'm wrong, but is this the first studio lineup that you've used three guitarists on this album?
This is, yeah. We used Damiano joined the band for touring 3 years ago, and he is on a live album we did, but this is the first studio recording with Damiano, and he's been a great addition. We just love playing with him. So
now, what's the rundown for the lineup now for Sacred Oath?
Well, you've got myself and Kenny, the two original guys, going all the way back to 80, 86, and then you've got Brendan Kelleher on bass guitar. You got Billy Smith on rhythm guitar and lead, and you got Damiano Christian on rhythm and lead guitar, and occasional keyboards for intros and things like that. So that's who we've got right now.
Now, Rob, in getting ready for the interview today, I really dove deep back into the past of Sacred Oath's catalog, and the progression of Sacred Oath over the years has been really amazing to me. And I really like the lyrical content on this latest release, and the song that struck a nerve with me was Empire's Fall. Now, that song really made me think about that heavy metal genre. I mean, I'm 54 years old, and I grew up with the old schoolers, Priest and Maiden and Dio and that kind of thing, Ozzy, and it kind of made me think, is that generation of metal fading away? Is that kind of the vibe you were getting when you wrote that song?
Yeah, well, you're giving me goosebumps just bringing it up, because that was... You told me it got you thinking, and I don't think it's a new thought. I think it's a thought that we have every once in a while. That it's like, wow, is the music of our youth, is it gonna be eternal, or is it not? It's like I do a lot of teaching on guitar with young people. Guitar and keyboards and drums. That's how I also have a music school that I run, and it makes me think. I get a kid walk in who's 12 years old, and he wants to play guitar, and I'm like, he's never heard of Led Zeppelin.
Oh man!
And I'm like, what? You never heard of Led Zeppelin? And I start to think to myself, what's it gonna be like in 50 years? I mean, is Ozzy Osbourne still gonna be a household name? I don't know. It reminds you of when you were younger, right? And your parents were playing Frank Sinatra, and you were like, "Who's this old geezer? Turn this off."
Exactly, and now this generation, to a lot of this generation, Ozzy Osbourne is the guy on the Osbournes, or the Ozzy and Jack's Road Trip. They don't know him as the metal god that he is.
Exactly, and and I think it's such a big deal to our generation, Red, because, man, that metal, those words and that bridge about us, we had a brotherhood that spanned across nations, right? I mean, if you were a metalhead in the 80s, I mean, my God, it was a kinship that was global. You shared something with a group of people that felt underground, but it felt so vital, and yeah, you worshipped Ozzy Osbourne and Judas Priest and Iron Maiden, and these bands were doing something that mattered and that you believed in. And it as you get older, you start to wonder, God, I hope that it wasn't all for nothing.
Exactly. Amen to that. I know every time I see a teenager in a Dio shirt or something like that, I have to give them props. And I think the music will live on forever, but I just don't know. Maybe it's up to us to carry that torch.
Well, yeah, but we're not going to be here forever, are we?
We can only hope.
If there's anything that the last 14 months have taught us, it's about our own mortality.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that was also a big part of, it had a huge impact on the lyrical content of this album in general. Just thinking about our mortality. Same the first track you played at the gates. I mean, that's what that's all about when you're at the gates, and what's true is, what's it all been about? What's truth?
Exactly.
Everything that we stood for in our lives, did it matter? Do we just die and go away, and the next generation comes in with a whole new viewpoint? Or, it's just so many things that we had to think about over the last year. What's important? What's real? What's our purpose? What are we living for? What do we believe in? That's what this record is so much about.
Well, for me, Rob, I didn't realize how I think I took live music for granted up until the past 14 or so months, because I always was going, always go and see this show and that show, or I'd go, I'll see him the next time around. I don't think I'll ever say that again after the past 14 months, that I'll see him next time.
Right. I know. Well, that's another thing, is that this past year has really taught us that, life is quick, fast, it's here and it's gone, and you got to take those opportunities while you have them, because you might not have them tomorrow.
Exactly. With things starting to finally open up slowly, I guess I got to ask, are you looking forward to getting back out in front of the crowds again soon? I mean, I took the title Return of the Dragon, that metal music and life are actually coming back.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, of course, we can't wait to play again. But all of a sudden, it's like we got complacent. It's like, it's never going to happen. Because you remember this thing started, it was supposed to last 2 weeks, and here we are coming up on 2 years. And now all of a sudden, you look at the news, and it's like, oh, wow, Broadway is going to open in September. So you're like, oh, my God, it's happening. We got to get our act together. We got to start practicing. So we're right now about to launch into rehearsal mode, and we're very excited about putting together a theatrical show, because the record, for us, is a very theatrical record. And so we're excited to do things with the stage sets and the set list, and excited to bring a heavy metal experience to the Oath Bangers this year, and hopefully that'll begin in September.
That would be awesome. I'm really looking forward to seeing Sacred Oath back out on the road. Now, Rob, I'm loving the release, and I'm encouraging our listeners here at Rock and Metal Revival, go out and get the release. I have the question, is it out in vinyl? I haven't seen it out in vinyl yet. Is it out in vinyl?
Well, yes, we did a vinyl pressing, a deluxe, gorgeous vinyl pressing, and that is actually going to begin shipping in 2 weeks. I'd say, or maybe a week, because the vinyl was being manufactured overseas, and boy, it was one COVID lockdown and shutdown after another in poor Czechoslovakia, and so it put things behind. So the vinyl was delayed, a couple months after the CD release, and we're so apologetic to the fans because we did all these pre-orders and they've been so gracious and patient with us, but we're expecting to receive the deluxe colored vinyl and the black vinyl this week. We're going to sign them, we're going to ship them out, and you'll also be able to find them in record stores on Record Store Day. They're going to have the black edition. It's a gorgeous package, Red. It's got all the artwork that Kenny did for the record, an individual piece for each song on the album, colored inner sleeves, colored splatter dragon eye vinyl.
Nice.
And double gatefold. It's the most beautiful package that we've ever done with Sacred Oath, so we're excited about it.
I gotta talk to you as an old school guy to an old school guy. Don't you just love vinyl? I mean, something to hold in your hands, the artwork, the lyrics. When I was a kid, when I first got into metal, I would read every lyric, and I would read who played on what and who was on the albums. And I am so excited that vinyl came back for that reason alone. Not alone, but the sound of vinyl when you play it.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, that was one of the reasons that we just really went over the top with this album is we knew we had a hot record on our hands. We were very excited about it, and we said, everybody's just dialing things up on Spotify these days. Let's put together an old school package that's full of art, all the lyrics and pictures, so that we can encourage people to get back into that experience of getting the vinyl, putting the wax on the turntable, and staring at all that eye candy for a full hour while they get the gist of the record. Let that be the entertainment. Let that be the experience instead of the background to whatever else people are doing, the background music. So that's what you're talking about, is that experience that we had in the early days, and it's such a valuable experience,
It really is.
And so we're trying to, bring that back.
Well, I know I'm excited right now that you told me it's available on vinyl. Where else is it available? I mean, it's available at all the all the download places, right?
Yeah, it's everywhere. Anywhere that you get your music, it's available. Whether you want to stream it on whatever, or you want to go to the record store and pick it up, order it, or maybe they'll have it in stock on CD and vinyl. And then, like I said, it won't be in stores on vinyl until July 9th.
Okay.
But you can also order signed copies of the CD and the deluxe vinyl right from our Bandcamp. We've been using sacredoath.bandcamp.com for that. That's where you can get signed copies and also limited edition pressings. And in fact, actually, the vinyl that is almost sold out. I think there's maybe 50 copies left.
I better get on it.
From our Bandcamp. Yeah. And Amazon. People love to buy music on Amazon, and of course you can get it all there.
Well, Rob, I have to. My co-host always makes me ask this question, and so I'm going to throw this out to you. When we're going back through the Sacred Oath catalog, have you ever thought that there was one song that would have taken it to another level if you guys would have added the cowbell?